Skill-based matchmaking has genuinely changed gaming forever in the shooter genre, and honestly, I don't think people even realize how it changed the entire culture of multiplayer games. Growing up, gaming felt completely different. Back in the original Modern Warfare days, the original Halo days, and even the old Battlefield days, every single match felt random. You had no idea what the lobbies were going to be like when you loaded into a game. One lobby would have an insane sniper who was quick-scoping everybody and dropping 100 kills. Another lobby had some guy screaming into his mic that you could barely understand what he was saying. Oh, what did you do? What did you do? And in another lobby, you'd have a guy running around with the most retarded class setup imaginable because it was funny. People played games like actual human beings, and the unpredictability made gaming feel so fun and memorable. Sometimes you'd be the best player, sometimes you get destroyed, but every match didn't feel like an absolute sweat fest. Now, skill-based matchmaking has existed in some form since as far back as Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare in 2007. Call of Duty actually confirmed this on their Intel white papers back in 2024. Now, obviously, way back then, skill-based matchmaking operated very differently to what it operates as today. A large part of this was due to algorithmic changes because algorithms are way more complex now than they were back when. Games still took skill into consideration, but it wasn't as heavily influenced as it is today. Back in their original Modern Warfare series, sure, you'd have some games where you would get destroyed by the best player in the lobby, but if you consistently drop multiple high kill games, you weren't immediately dumped into a lobby full of the sweatiest try-hard players known to man. It almost seems like in today's games, if you perform well, you automatically get put into lobbies of other high-performing players, and every single match in gaming now feels engineered to an extent, especially with how involved the algorithms are in trying to calculate who you play against next. Multiplayer games used to be fun and a chance for you to hang out with your friends online. Now modern multiplayer games feel like esports tournaments, and the worst part of it all is half the time winning the game doesn't even feel satisfying either. With skill-based matchmaking, games continually get engineered based on your skill, and eventually that means everybody becomes average. Everyone gets forced towards having a similar stat line, and highlights and high kill games will become things of the past. But why do companies implement skill-based matchmaking into games this heavily? A lot of people think companies care about competitive integrity, but let's be honest, if they did, their anti-cheat systems would be a lot better. The real reason that skill-based matchmaking is so prevalent today is that companies want to increase player retention. They want to avoid having new players download their game and get absolutely shit on and never want to play it again. If players quit playing, companies lose out on money. From a business perspective, it makes a ton of sense. Plus, if players quit, they won't stick around to buy battle passes and all the fun content that microtransactions have to offer. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying hard at a game. Coming from pursuing professional sports in the past, everything I do has, a competitive aspect to it that's just in my blood. I'm literally trying to grind face at level 10 on CS2 right now as we speak. But there is right and wrong ways to go about it, and one of the most interesting aspects of gaming right now is how it's changed with the content creator phenomenon. With a lot of FPS games, a lot of streamers and content creators have created this meta-driven, fast-paced gameplay that just doesn't work for the average player base anymore. Studies conducted by ESA in 2025 found that the average gamer is 36 years old in the United States and almost 41 years old across the rest of the world. And as you get older, it's harder to keep up with this faster-paced style method of gaming used today. Games like Warzone and Call of Duty have popularized the meta content where everybody's now looking for the best meta and class setup in each game. Every popular YouTube or TikTok video now features this is the best class for X weapon, and you even have people that are literally doing movement metas where they toy with players by running around them as they miss every bullet. Skill-based matchmaking has literally pushed people to engineer themselves to optimize the game and be the best player as possible, as opposed to just grabbing and going like we did back in old times. This creator culture, on top of the increased algorithmic presence of skill-based matchmaking, has made gaming more of the competition that it is today, as opposed to the social time that it was in the past. Now, as gaming has gotten more and more competitive over the years, we've also seen an increase in the amount of cheating that's occurred because of it. Cheating in games like Warzone and some of the other Call of Duty titles has been estimated to be as high as almost 20 to 30% of players, and other games have reported that 5 to 10% of player bases could be cheating as well. Now, traditional cheating has been a lot more prominent in general because of the increased sources of cheats and where to find them, and the accessibility to get them as well. A lot more people nowadays have access to the internet and have more money to be able to purchase cheats, and combined with the introduction of skill-based matchmaking, the skill-based matchmaking algorithms have even introduced newer types of cheating that have been around before but is becoming a lot more prevalent, like two-boxing, for example. Two-boxing is when a player queues with a lower rank or lower KD player to get in the easier lobbies to farm. And content creators like to use this type of cheating to be able to get into lobbies full of new players because they're able to farm kills and clips for their content. And don't get me wrong, like, I get it. Who wants to watch a video of, you know, one of the quote-unquote best players in the game only get 10 kills per match? Like, I totally understand. But for the lower skilled player that will actually benefit from skill-based matchmaking and algorithms, it really sucks for them because they're just going to get absolutely pissed on by somebody with 8,000 hours in the game. And at the rate that we're going with anti-cheat not being able to keep up with certain types of cheats, it seems like that things are only going to get worse. And a lot of this has stemmed from the skill-based matchmaking unintentionally, you know, changing the DNA of what multiplayer gaming has been forever. And unfortunately, it's not going to come back to the way things were ever, or anytime soon for that matter. So where do we go from here? Now, players will continually adjust and continue to get better and better at games as time goes on, and at some point the skill gap of games will be even more insane than it already is. Eventually, older gamers will phase out to different types of games because the skill gap will get so far away that they're not able to compete anymore, and they'll start playing single player games or games that are just non-competitive, as it'll be easier for them to, you know, have a more enjoyable time doing. From a content perspective, one thing that I actually think is worth noting is the increase in community run games and servers that have dedicated staff such as admins and moderators. These type of servers are a lot easier to keep cheetah free as they have dedicated people ensuring fair gameplay for players by issuing manual bans or having application processes and things. We see this super prevalent in games like Rust, DayZ, and Grand Theft Auto. You know, while the occasional cheater might slip through, they're often dealt with in a quick and timely manner. The only problem with this is that a lot of games don't actually have support or allow their communities to run these type of servers, which limits the type of games that can be played. And even from a content perspective, like, content has really been taking off on different, you know, community run events. You take Burnt Peanut, for example. You know, they've done a great job at reviving the fun type of gaming with this community Rust server. And it's kind of been the talk of the internet, you know, for the last 2 weeks now. Unfortunately, he did eventually, like, discontinue it, I think, to, you know, more seasoned Rust players being on the server and kind of making it less fun for, you know, the rest of the people that were on there. But nonetheless, it's been nice to, you know, just take a step back and actually, like, enjoy gaming for once. Another thing that I've noticed too is that on YouTube, a lot of people have been posting videos of gameplay of some of the older Modern Warfare titles and various different games that have been doing really well with views, just because I don't know if it's the nostalgia aspect or because the skill-based matchmaking isn't as prevalent in those games, and the game itself is just a lot more enjoyable than some of the modern titles. But I just find it interesting that it's starting to trend on YouTube right now with people just posting gameplay footage of these other games. Now, I would love to go and play some of the older Modern Warfare titles on Steam, but unfortunately, they still have an exploit that's been going on for many years, which is why I don't play these types of games. Which is unfortunate because I've really loved them, and Modern Warfare 3 is probably one of my favorite games of all time. But on the Steam versions of the games right now, there's an exploit to where people can actually, like, maliciously install programs and files and things on your computer, you know, through migrating hosts. They can actually, like, take control of the lobby. I don't understand how it all works, I'll be honest, but I just, you know, I played Modern Warfare 2 on Steam, and this exact thing happened to me where somebody installed a rat on my computer. If you don't know what a rat is, it's a remote access program where he eventually, like, took over my PC, and I had to go, you know, figure out where it was and wipe it, and it was just a whole pain in the ass. So as much as I love, you know, the older Modern Warfare titles, it's not worth putting myself at that kind of risk for that sort of thing. So even though skill-based matchmaking has a lot of positives, it definitely has a lot of negatives to come with it. And, you know, for it to be really beneficial for a lot of competitive players, you know, different games anti-cheats are really going to have to step up their game if they want to maintain players in their matches. CS2 has a huge cheater problem, even in Face It right now, which has a kernel level anti-cheat that a lot of people are talking about. And it seems like a lot of people, even though the player base of CS2 seems to be growing and it's kind of at all-time highs as of late, a lot of people are very frustrated with the situation, you know, with Face It and with Counter-Strike. And unless companies start to step up their anti-cheat system, like any skill-based matchmaking game is really going to be tough to, you know, just grow player bases and have a good experience for, just to the amount of people that are, you know, avoiding skill-based matchmaking with smurfing or two-boxing or even just cheating in general, which is unfortunate. And, you know, even in the meantime, gaming might be cooked. You know, hopefully it can be fixed in the future. Let me know your thoughts. Do you guys think skill-based matchmaking is a good thing or a bad thing? Or do you think it's kind of a neutral, just based on, you know, the type of player that you are? Let me know